what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Shimere. If you're new here, thanks for joining us, and if you're not, welcome back to my channel. Okay, you guys, so I put out an interview tips video. It was the best interview tips, and you guys, I wanted to come back with a part 2. In today's part 2 tips, we're going to discuss things you definitely should not be doing during an interview. Okay, let's get right into them. The first tip of things you definitely should not be doing is arriving late. While I know there are plenty of things that can come up on the day of your interview, whether it be traffic, any other type of emergency, you should try your best to be on time, okay? If you know that your interview is in 30 minutes or an hour and you're looking at yourself and you're like, you know what, I might want to put on a little extra makeup, or I might want to stop and get a little breakfast. You guys, no. Make sure you have enough time to get to your interview on time. And if for some reason something comes up to where you're going to be late for your interview, please make sure you call the person that's going to be interviewing you and let them know that you're running a little late. But let me tell you guys, I really feel like if that's the case, have a good reason for being late, okay? Please don't just call either and say, hey, I'm running late, and then when you get there, if they start talking about it, you don't really have a good reason for it, because that might make them look down on you, and they might look at it like, hey, is this person going to be late every day when they're coming to work, like for random minor reasons? So definitely keep that in mind, okay? Try to arrive on time all the time. That's the second thing you definitely should not be doing in an interview, is telling them your whole life story. Now, I know one of the first things people ask you in an interview is, tell me about yourself. You guys, they want you to tell them about yourself, but not like every single thing about you, okay? So you shouldn't really be telling them that you and your siblings don't get along and you think they're weirdos. You know, stuff like that you can keep to yourself. You know, give a basic overview of, you. Things that are gonna pertain to your job, okay? Like, hey, I went to school for this, whatever you're interviewing for, or I've been in this field for this long, those sort of things, not your whole life story, okay? The third thing that I would suggest you definitely not do in an interview is go on a full-on rant about politics or things that are going on right now. Now, I know there are a lot of things going on right now in the world, and we all have opinions, and I'm not saying that you should have an interview and not discuss any of your opinions if asked or anything like that. What I'm saying is, don't go on a rant. So whatever you're talking about, whatever it is that made this discussion of politics or current events come up, keep the answers short and to a minimum. The last thing you want to do is have them only remember you for the rant that you went on. If you go on a rant about current events or politics or anything like that, they're not going to remember your skills, your talents, anything else about the interview. All they're probably going to remember is that rant, okay? And while it may be entertaining for them to talk about to the other people after your interview is done, it's probably not going to be good for you as far as getting a call back for a second interview or for the job. So let's try and keep those conversations to a minimum. The fourth thing that you definitely should not be doing is not following the social distancing guidelines. You guys, right now we all know we're in a pandemic. Hopefully it's about to end. But if we're in a pandemic and there are social distance guidelines going on right now, you guys, make sure you're following them when you go on your interview. Show up with your mask on, okay? Especially if you're going on an interview somewhere where your mask is definitely required, okay? Show up with your mask on. Make sure that if for some reason, let's say they're going to show you around the office or show you around the store or restaurant, whatever the case may be, okay? If someone's going to show you around, make sure you're still giving them space and distance, okay? Make sure you're letting them feel comfortable. Follow the guidelines. And while I know in some offices or some restaurants or stores, there may not be space for you to give a full 6 feet, give as much as you can. If you know guidelines are to stay 6 feet apart, try your best to give as much space as you possibly can, okay? You don't want to be the one who's on the interview and the interviewer is here and you're following them around like this, okay? No, give them a little bit of space. And the fifth and final thing you shouldn't be doing, it actually occurs after the interview, is harassing, okay? You guys, you should be following up after your interview, you know, to thank them for the interview or to, you know, see if they've made any type of decision or anything like that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't follow up at all, because if you're interested in knowing, you definitely should follow up. And it's definitely courteous for you to, you know, follow up either by phone or by email and thank the person for taking their time out to give you that interview. But you guys, what you should not be doing is harassing, okay? If you've left a message or you've sent an email to follow up, you probably don't need to follow up like the next day and the next day, or constantly call even when they've taken a message and given it to management. You know, the first call might be something like this, like, hi, I'm just following up to see if any decision had been made or if anyone had been hired for the position that I applied for. That's fine, you guys. But if you leave a message and the manager doesn't call you back that day or maybe the next day, you don't have to constantly call the place that you interview with, okay? At some point, we're going to need to get the hint that maybe that's just not the job for you. Maybe they're not going to hire you. Sometimes what could actually be going on why you haven't heard back is there may have been a change in how management is going to classify the position. So, you know, something might have started off as being a full-time position that maybe now the budget has changed and they're only going to be willing to hire someone part-time. You guys, when things like that happen, companies need time to adjust and readjust how they're going to present the offer to you, the contracts. Sometimes management may have already decided like, hey, I like this person. I'm ready to make this person an offer. But a lot of the times before they can call you and let you know that you're going to be hired, they have to send the information to human resources. You guys, human resources can be so busy sometimes. So sometimes it's just a matter of the person in human resources being able to get to your information and come up with the rate of pay that they're going to offer you or anything like that, okay? There are many factors that come up from the time you leave the interview to the time they can actually call you and offer you a position. So what I would say is, one, follow up by phone or by email. And then let's say if you follow up by phone and you haven't heard anything back, then maybe I would recommend doing a second follow-up by emailing the person that you interviewed with if you have their email. But at no point should you just be calling constantly day after day or showing up and wanting to speak to the manager about it. You guys, they have your number. If they want to hire you, at some point they're going to contact you and let you know. So rest assured, if you're going to get the job, someone's going to let you know. So don't harass them. Don't constantly call them. You know, sometimes I've actually seen this happen. Someone may interview you and another person for the same position, and they might hire the other person, but they might have you in mind for a new position that's just popped up. I've worked in offices where this has happened, okay? A new position to come up right after they've interviewed multiple people, and they might be like, okay, you know what? I want this person for that position that we interviewed for, but the other person, I'm gonna want them for that position. So hopefully HR can get everything together in time so that I can contact them and let them know about the whole other position. So you guys, be patient. Just put out positive vibes and don't harass. Okay, you guys, so that's the end of my interview tips part 2. Things you definitely should not be doing on an interview. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and drop me a comment down below. Let me know if you feel like these things were helpful or not. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.